All right, welcome to day 2 of 5 days to full body, where we're working through a full body blast in sections each day. Yesterday, you got the email with scalp, face, and neck. Today, we are going to go from traps and shoulders on the front, chest, arms, all the way down to fingertips. I am going to do my best not to bump the microphone. My apologies if you hear anything, because we will be working down to the chest line here. We do not blast on actual breast tissue, but you can go in between, around, into your underarm. You just don't want to be digging into the soft portion of your armpit because there's lymph nodes hanging out in there, and we don't want to disturb and inflame those. But you can do along the sides. In the bra bulge, I will demonstrate. Obviously, I don't have a really good way to show you actively blasting there, but you'll be able to see everything else. Again, as per usual, the general rule of thumb for order of tools is small claw, large claw, nugget point. You can vary it depending on your time. You'll probably see me use different types of oil during this week because I have certain ones that I like for certain areas. This roller one is just handier for getting in here. I always feel like if I take my pump oil, I just get a little too much. And it starts dripping down my back. So I'm just going to try to get as oiled as possible. When I work my chest, I do try to stay on one side, but sometimes it's nice to be able to go across. So that's why I'm doing one arm oiled first, all the way across my chest. Get the back of my arm with the pump oil here. Whatever oil you have, if you are preferring to blast in the shower, you can use body wash, conditioner, bar soap, whatever you have access to. That just gives you good glide. You don't want the tools stuck, like yanking on your skin. So when I work my arms, I start at the fingertips and then I work my way up. I always do little palm. Again, this is the Pro Blaster. All the names are pretty similar. Little square small claw one. I make sure I go on each finger. There may be days, especially if you have a lot of typing in your job or use your hands a lot, that you want to take longer on this. Again, I'm trying to keep these videos pretty concise and informational. So take more if you need it. I'm going to work my way up, making sure I'm rotating all the way around, moving light and brisk. When you're working with the small claw to begin with, the main purpose is getting the blood flowing, getting the tissue prepped. We're not digging yet, we're not applying a lot of pressure. I'm doing just a little bit more, like this is just the tool with nothing. I'm doing, I would say, about a 1 to 2 pressure just to get blood flowing, everything woken up and stimulated. If you do this in the shower, it's real handy just to like stick your arm on the wall of the shower, because your own arm gets heavy when you start having to blast the triceps and hold it in the air. So that's my favorite, like, lazy shower blasting tip. Prop your arm on the wall. That way you don't have to hold up your own arm. All right, working around. On the trap. Okay, on the collarbone here, I found originally that back in here I had so many adhesions. It was so tight because I kept my shoulders like this. So it was always short and tight in there. So I take the edge of the tool, tip it kind of behind the collarbone. All it really fits back there is like one or two legs of a single claw, but I always make sure I get in there. And then I tip the tool upwards using the edge of one side and hit just below the collarbone on the front. I'm using the same approach going around my shoulder, tipping the tool. You're searching for soreness, lumps, bumps, anything that feels or sounds gravelly. And if you're new to blasting, you might be trying to figure out what I'm talking about, but you'll know when you hit it and something is gravelly, you'll understand what I'm talking about. I like to hold on because our chests sit and fall so much during the day. I like to lift and kind of shorten and just do a little up and down. It's poor muscle. My pec, I always feel like it's getting yanked down by just the extra body weight of the breast tissue. So I just try to hold it, support it while we do this. And I lean forward and give a little scoop. This feels really good on the chest. Again, I've got the tool tipped, just doing small scooping motions. If you have any form of shoulder tension or shoulder problems, you probably have a very tight and compact chest and your pec muscles might not fire. When I started opening up my shoulders and working on those, I had a lot of adhesions in my chest. And the more I did the blasting on my chest, the more my shoulders gave me better range of motion. Now I'm taking the pressure up to probably 4 or 5. I'm just doing another pass over my arm. When you see edges of muscles, like the bicep right here, I take the side of the tool and kind of carve around that. Same back here with the tricep. I know it's hard to see with the tattoos, but you'll see it a little more on the other side. All right, and again, this can be done with whatever small claw tool you have, or even if you only have a large claw tool, blast with that. Same rule applies with the large. Just kind of pass over everything. This one will on its own feel a little bit deeper just because of the larger claw size. Again, moving quickly just to keep this as a simple part of a regular routine. Go across the chest. And I do pretty quick on the large claw, just depending how it feels, because I've started spending more time with the Pro Nugget, and blasting with it like this is considered a deeper work. If you are new to the Pro Nugget, we are tapping. You can apply a little bit of pressure when tapping, but you're desensitizing. You're looking for tight and painful spots. Right back here is tender for me, but nowhere else around. So I know that there's something hiding back there. So I can blast it. If you're still sticking in the newer treatments after you finish the tapping, you can just kind of press and hold. So that way it'll start relieving whatever tension and adhesion is back there. I'm a seasoned blaster. I've been doing this for right around 9 years. So I can go pretty deep with it after I finish my blast. I am very, very good about cold therapy. I do have a cold plunge barrel that I've been slacking on getting in, but I also keep cryo packs in my freezer, and I will get those out and put them on the areas that I've blasted, and I use the Velcro ones so that I can do it just while I'm in my kitchen cooking. But you can also do cold therapy anytime, whether you have blasted that day or not. That is one of my favorite things about it, is it can be done anytime. Flush, and that's why I like to use the Velcro ones. Flushing, I'm just moving all that blood flow that we brought in, getting it, heading back out. When our blood is flowing, it is bringing nutrients. It is part of the lymph system. Everything's trying to move to help the body detox on its own. So we take that time to bring it to the surface. Now we're just going to help it move along. Oil up my other arm real quick. Then we're going to repeat the same thing on the other side. And when you switch sides, you may have one side that feels different than the other. That's okay. It's okay to do something different on each side and take what you need. The more you listen to your body, the more it'll tell you what it's asking for. And this, my right side is my racket swinging arm for tennis. So I tend to find a little more tenderness hiding up in here, around the shoulder, right here in my chest, just from all the swinging and opening and closing. So again, real quick on the palm. Blasting your hands is another one of those things that you can do while you're sitting on the couch in the evening. Feels really, really good around the fingers. I noticed my rings started to get bigger the more I started blasting my hands years ago. And it just keeps them pain-free. Like, I'm able to grip better without any tension. I don't have that pain from all the typing I've done for years. We're doing our lower pressure, quick blood flow, surfacing blast to start with. See, you can see a little bit of tricep back there. What I was talking about on the other side is carving right alongside it. Helps bring out muscle definition. And in certain spots where you feel like you don't have muscle, like when I look at my abs, they're not there, but I know where they should be. So I blast around where abs would be. All right. Back side of that collarbone. Front. Whoo, that shoulder, that little spot right there. So we'll give that a little more attention here in a moment. Across the chest. Now, when I'm in the shower and I'm working this bra bulge area, I go up and down right here and back and forth. It's hard to do over clothes and unoiled, but I'll also run this whole connection right here. So that is another one you can add. Make sure you go in between the breasts. There's usually a little bit of tenderness hiding in there. If you have bra strap indents, you can blast on those to help lift them up. You can do a little of the scoop motion to help take care of those. All right, we're moving to a little bit deeper pressure, about that 4 or 5. You can see the blood flow coming. My arm's starting to get a little pink. When I first started blasting in the shower to make sure I kept things even, I would sing the ABCs. And I would blast one arm for the length of 3 rounds of singing the ABCs. And that gave me just a time reference to make sure I was keeping things relatively balanced, because sometimes blasting is a workout and it can feel like you've been doing it forever and it's only been 4 minutes. All right, taking the mini 2, doing a quick large claw pass over. Whew. Whew, tingly. This trap right up here where it connects my shoulder right there is a little tight, so I'm just giving it a little bit extra. One of the big things when you're blasting, when you're finished, after you flush, just sometime within that same day, try to stretch. You can do little like muscle pulses and get it firing, help put all this delicious, yummy blood flow to work, feeding those nutrients to the muscles. So it's always good. You can give them a little pulse. But think about when you're making your bed and you have a wrinkly top sheet, you always go, you spread it, try to stretch it out to smooth it. It's the same thing with your fascia, especially if you have an adhesion that you have recently opened up or found and been working on. It's spent so much time kinked and in the wrong place that you want to help stretch it and smooth it so you don't get the adhesion out and then you get a little bit out and it goes right back. You know, give it just a nice little extra stretch. Nothing crazy, but if you have time, you can use those fascia yoga videos. They're on YouTube. They're always good. Pull that tricep. There is something in there. A little tender. My arms have been one of the most stubborn chunks of Beyond Bound all up in my upper arm. And it makes sense. It's my arms. We use our arms all the time, right? Our legs all the time, always walking. They don't always get all the TLC we would like them to get. Apply a little pressure back here because this one is definitely tender. My right arm is my dominant arm, so it gets used so much more than my left arm. It does all the heavy lifting. So it tends to have a little bit tighter adhesions, a little bit more going on over there. So I try to just be aware of it. And if it's asking for more, give it more. If you don't have the Pro Nugget and you just have single nugget, let me show you using the end of the Mini 2. You're just going to use the 1 point. You can use it like a big old crayon and just kind of color over the area. And when you find a tender spot, you're just going to press in, give it a little wiggle. Commonly referred to as poke and wiggle. So right here on the front of my shoulder, I can poke a wiggle there. So that's how you can use a single nugget. This bad boy just does so much for me on its own. Tricep from the other side. All right. It's about even on each side. Do a quick flush again. You can always see how it feels if your arms get sore or tired in between. Just switch arms for a little while. You can set timers on your phone for 1 to 2 minute increments and keep it in this section and then this section. You get what I'm saying? Whatever makes it easier for you to track your time and try to keep it as even as possible. Okay? All right. I will see you guys tomorrow for day 3.